This lesson is fractions, comparing, and ordering, and we're going to use the fraction tile puzzle. There are many lessons in this manual that deal with fractions. This is the foundation for understanding fractions, and so we're going to talk about several things. First thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about equivalent fractions. And as the puzzle is constructed right now, we can see that we have whole numbers all the way down to twelfths. So the fractions that we can look at are halves, thirds, quarters, fifths, sixths, eighths, tenths, and twelfths. So in this case, we can just look, and I'll show you a few examples. You can see that equivalent fractions, none of the fraction tiles are exactly the same, and they're hard to see on the video, but I'll point them out. They're obviously each different sizes, and they get bigger as you get closer to the whole number. So the larger the denominator, the smaller the piece. So in this case, what I'd like to do is I'd like to point out this is where the half ends, right here, and then if you look in the quarters row, you can see that the 2 quarters is exactly the same length as 1/2. So what we've done is we've used the fraction tile puzzle to find fractions that are equivalent, and in this case we have 1/2, the brown, and we have 2 1/4, which is 2 quarters. We can also continue following down, and we can see that 3/6 is the same, 4/8 is the same, 5/10, and 6/12. So we can use the fraction tile puzzle to find equivalent fractions. The next thing we can do is we can rank order fractions based on their denominator. Now in this case it's very easy because all we have to do is look, and the larger denominator is a smaller fraction, but the students can visually see this by looking. They can see that the 1/2 piece right here in this row is bigger than the 1/3 piece, is bigger than the 1/4, is bigger than the 1/5, and so on. So you can visually show students that as the denominator increases and the numerator is still the same, 1, the fraction gets smaller. And finally, if we want to rank order fractions, so for instance a half is less than 2/3, which is less than 3/4, and so what you have to do is you can take each set of pieces here in the row. For instance, if we look at 3/10, we can see that it's slightly bigger than 2/8. So have students maybe remove all the other pieces so they can just look at 2 rows, and they can compare fractions with different numerators and denominators, and compare, for instance, 3/10 to 5/12, and so on. So you can use this fraction tile puzzle to find equivalent fractions, to compare 2 fractions in size, and also to rank order from least to greatest.